Hi everyone, welcome to our new case study. I'm delighted to have Chip here, who's been engaged with Supermums for quite a while, very active member of the alumni, and always love hearing the success stories of what they're doing now. So I invited Chip to tell you more about his journey and where he's been and what he's doing, and you can hopefully be really inspired about his story. So Chip, do you want to just tell us a little bit about your background and where you started and what your ambition was for actually forging out a Salesforce career?
Um, I actually came from I suppose as a lot of other people, from a totally different background, from different industry, non-Salesforce related, um, in the transport industry. And the last role I had there was as an operations manager. So I suppose uh, coming and building a career all the way to the operations manager does help you build on the transferable skills, which definitely help me with the transition, really. And yeah, with Salesforce, pre-pandemic or during the pandemic, I was introduced to Salesforce, both myself and my wife, and it piqued my interest. Also, because at work it was so paper-based and so Excel-based. Again, probably a familiar story for a lot of other people. And I wanted to see if there was a system that you could either build or tailor-made that could assist me in the day-to-day role. So I was introduced to Salesforce and built a Trailblazer account and started learning about it. I am quite technical, so I've tinkered with computers in the past and toyed with systems, and definitely excel to a good level, even a good understanding of how data structure works and so on. So I didn't find it that difficult to start to understand, although what I did lack a little bit was the terminology. From this kind of industry, you'd have like your leads, contacts, accounts, and things like that. I knew what it meant on paper, but I didn't have a good understanding of that. So I think that was the one of the challenges, also understanding the terminology as well. But yeah, bit by bit discovered that also uh, how versatile and how flexible and the amount of tweaking and tailoring that you can do within Salesforce. Although it was vast, it is a lot. Salesforce is so complex and it covers so many areas. And I suppose that's why it's the number one CRM, really. And yeah, it can become time consuming, but perseverance and also for those who are not necessarily technical, like my wife, she actually did the Supermums admin course as well, and yeah, she learned it, and it's definitely possible to grasp the basic in a very short time. So yeah, I suppose here I am since the pandemic, now working in Salesforce as a sole systems administrator. Yep.
Amazing. I love the fact that you both sort of learn Salesforce together. So obviously having your chats over the dinner about what does this mean and that mean.
Well, we do now. Just before this meeting, we were looking at a flow together. There are we have our own strengths. She's very good with the permissions and security and things like that. Whereas I'm more of a kind of the process building and automations and basic definitely flow and a bit of coding, I would say as well. So yeah, we complement each other, I suppose,
I
definitely.
love that team working at home. It's fantastic. So obviously Oksana did our course who came to the program initially. So in terms of your decision to do the consultancy skills course, you naturally probably got introduced to Supermums through your wife.
Yeah.
But what made you invest in the consultancy skills course to kind of develop your career opportunities?
Yes, you. It's I. uh, The I was okay from a technical perspective, where I wasn't necessarily okay, especially since, I could say I'm quite new in this industry. Um, Trying to take a step back and analyze the org, analyze the processes, and I didn't have any pretty much any knowledge of the techniques that are being used in this industry, to analyze the business, to implement strategies, use cases, user stories, and things like that. And I've made a first step in this industry, but I don't want to stop here, do I? I want to grow. And I thought, yes, this is where Supermums would could help, as a first step at least, to kind of, okay, I know Salesforce, but how I need to learn about strategies that are applicable when improving and developing and transitioning into Salesforce as well. So yeah, that was actually quite an easy decision to make as a next step for me, definitely. Yeah.
And how did you find the course? How do you feel like it's helped you in your role practically now?
Very easy, in a sense that it's well structured, uh, and it you tackle the specifics within. And what I mean by that is that, you're talking about, okay, how do you do an analysis, a business analysis, how do you start, or where do you start, how do you continue, how do you measure that? So you learn about this, but also you apply it. You go, after the session is finished, you are given the opportunity to take your time and think about, if I was a business analyst and I was working for this company, or maybe in your cases, you are already working for organizations. Okay, how would I apply that? And it's very easy to do. And it's not just theoretical, where you'd have all those resources that you can read and then, maybe forget about them. No, you can apply, and you can refer to it all the time.
Mm.
Um, and one thing that a lot of, I suppose, competitive um, courses don't really have, or at least I haven't seen, is the community. You just engage with the community, the alumni, and ask other questions and pique their brains. And sometimes a method, you might need to tweak a method that you learn in this course, depending on how is your organization's, how is your company organized.
Mm.
um it doesn't necessarily, it's not like a one-way road. It can go around, bendy ways, but you have the basics, and you have great people to ask. And if you get stuck, and there's always going to be somebody who's going to come out with an answer, or even assist. And it's happened. I mean, I've sent over a question over the chat, and the 2 hours later I was on Teams to discuss it, and to clarify it. It worked fine. So yeah, definitely.
Oh, I love that. I love seeing that people are asking questions every day with like in technical support, because you can just solve it. You can spend hours wasting time, but actually, you just ask somebody, you can solve it much quicker, can't you? So I'm really, really delighted to see that you're actively involved in all of that too.
Yeah, I mean, there's no harm in doing a bit of research on your own, but if it's lagging, just go on and ask the question, and maybe they won't know the answer, but they'll do their little research, and they may find it somewhere where you just didn't think of looking or clicking on, and things like that. So yeah, coming back to teamwork, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. And so you got your job, I think you said about 8 months ago. Is
Yeah,
that
in
right?
February, yeah, 1st of
Right.
February.
Okay. Yeah. No, 10 months ago. This year's gone quick, which is amazing. Because obviously we worked with you and supported you to kind of think about your transferable skills and take those steps over the line and got your first job. So do you want to tell us more about what you're doing in that job, and then obviously just reflect on how you've applied the skills in practice.
Oh, what don't I do? Business as usual, user support, security, and access, integrations, and definitely development, and automations. I don't just do just Salesforce. I think 70%, 70 to 75% is Salesforce. I pinch in a little bit with on Office 365, and a little bit of Azure. And I'm actually now a system admin for all of the systems, all the systems that I've
By the role.
using. I've no idea how I got to do that, but yeah. Um, but the biggest barrier is I knew transport. I didn't know art fairs. Definitely, I had no clue. I was amazed how big of a market that is. So the biggest challenge is you need to understand, in my role, I need to be the link between the technical side of the systems and the operational side of, the and understand how operations, translate into the system. So definitely a lot of process mapping, definitely a lot of user stories and surveys,
Hmm.
um, and even if they say yes, this is how we do, Australia team might do that slightly different or even a lot different than the US team, for example. So you have to take that into account. And yeah, you need to understand the limitations of Salesforce. Or how more complex can Salesforce or can your org get? So yeah, there's loads of analysis that needs to be made, and definitely the course did come in handy because I had the materials, I had the knowledge now to do exactly that. Take two
Okay.
steps back and start from high level all the way to granular level of analysis. Really, you start with overall, okay, what does the business is the business trying to achieve? What are they trying to do overall? And then you go into more details and more details, and you said, okay, this is a process of, I don't know, say, sending over marketing emails, and you analyze that into details and things like that. So yes, definitely, in in this role, um, I would say right from the onset, a lot of the knowledge and skills that I had through the consultancy course, it came in handy, really, definitely, yeah.
Yes, and I just want to celebrate that you won an award. So everybody's really loved everything that you've been doing at the organisation where you're working. So do you want to tell everybody a little bit about the award that you won?
Yeah, very, very chuffed. We had a conference recently, in Amsterdam. Perks of the jobs, I suppose. You get to travel a little bit here and there. So the company held a conference in Amsterdam where everybody from every part of the world, from every team, came over. Opportunity to put names to faces, and because I interacted with everybody, I was quite one of the few that I actually knew everybody over there. But it was right an eye opener for me, in a sense that I did not realize how much of a positive impact my work in this 8 months was to the team as a whole, or to people individually. And yeah, at the end of the conference, there were a few awards. One of them being Instant Impact Award, which yeah, I was happy to receive.
Mhm.
And it did mention from day one, so definitely I must have done something right. But yeah, it was a great realization from my end, that and I was absolutely happy that, all the hard work, in this time, which went so quick, and all the skills I've learned before with Supermums, you know, through whilst learning also through this role, you know, that were applied in this role, then it benefited the business as a whole. So yes, great, absolutely. It's actually great feeling to receive such an award. And again, because you realize that, you know, your work is absolutely valued. So definitely. Yep.
Wow, it's amazing. Well done. It just shows in 8 months what you've achieved. So I can't wait to see what the next few years hold, either at the organisation where you are now or your next step. So thank you so much for sharing your journey. And I hope everybody's been truly inspired by that. So thank you.
No worries. Happy to share that. And yeah, like you said, hopefully there's some inspirations, and you know, and that people find it a lot easier and more reassuring that if they want to make the step, and you know, take an extra course to progress, you know, this is the way to do it. There's some um valuable skills to learn, some good insights, some good knowledge, but also the community as well that they're winning and they're gaining. Yep.
Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you. Thank you.